Hey guys, Core Ross, and today Tarkov has just updated the game with a massive upgrade to the PvE mode. So I want to jump into the patch notes and go over what has changed because this is a mode I'm freaking loving. Now to start with, I am doing a PvE adventure in Tarkov and making an episode usually once or twice a week. Now, the way I'm playing it is very differently from normal. I'm not doing any scav runs, I'm only playing my PMC, and I'm trying to only play with my friends as well. So it's not a hardcore playthrough that I'm playing, but very much a survival game setup that I've gone for, with plenty of limitations that will slow my progress. And then one last note is the Tarkov PVE mode is only currently available to EOD owners, that's myself, or the Unheard edition, which is $250 or whatever. So right now, it's not worth it. Now it is going to become available as a separate purchase, but I think this should just be available to the entire player base. I think it's stupid that it's planned to become available as a separate purchase later. And right now they haven't said that it's available to be bought yet. I presume within the next couple of weeks it'll be available to purchase, and I've got no clue what the price will be. But anyway, let's jump into the patch notes. So AI adjustments in PvE. AI PMCs now pick up items, loot crates and bodies, and they try to choose more valuable loot to take with them. They'll also look at the equipment the enemy is using and then try to equip that if it's better than their own. And then the big one, AI PMCs can now travel all over the map, and they're going to try and build routes to go to points to loot. So they'll go to the loot concentration, so you expect to find a lot of PMCs at those areas. The bots will also move in tactical formations as well, if there is multiple of them. And when they reach a destination point, they'll loot, and then they'll set up ambushes waiting for the players to come by. Along with that, they're also going to be extracting towards the end of the raid as well. So all of that sounds like a massive upgrade over the current AI that we have in the game, the PvE mode, and makes it far more dynamic. Along with that, the AI PMCs will also sprint more in open terrain, which hopefully will give you the ability to hear them before they shoot you. They also say that PMC levels on beginner ground zero will be limited to level 20. I don't think that actually has any impact on the difficulty of the AI. It's just that their dog tags will say 20 or less on it. They've also changed how the AI react to enemies and pass that information on. So if an AI sees you and starts yelling, every other scav in the area will hear that and they'll come running. Potentially as well though, PMCs might also hear that and team up with the scavs. Because there's plenty of times in this PvE mode where you can turn around and there can be PMCs, a boss, a bunch of scavs who are all just chilling with each other, and then as soon as you arrive they're all suddenly hostile to you and not actually fighting each other. And from reading this, I don't get the impression that the AI are going to become hostile to each other, which is better. If the AI PMCs are going to roam, I would love it. Of course, if they're engaging scavs as they go, that would make the audio in the game far more dynamic and you know where to go to potentially fight someone. So I'm a bit worried about how they might still team up together. But not only that, AI scavs are also getting massive upgrades, and they'll also roam around the maps looting as well. So you're not just going to have the PMCs roaming around the maps, you're also going to have the AI scavs, which are basically going to be taking over the role of the player scavs that you'd have in PvP. But I do like that they say they're not looking for the same loot as the PMCs, they're going for the less valuable stuff, the stuff they can get easier. But it doesn't mention if they try to extract like the PMCs do, because that would be very cool to see the scavs go into extract points as well. These guys will also move in formation as well when they're traveling, which I'm not sure they should. I think maybe they should be a bit more scattered about and not really sticking with each other. Because the scavengers are supposed to be the less coordinated group out there. And then they say this is the first iteration of the AI improvements for PvE mode. In future updates, we can also plan to refine the tactical behavior of AI as well as the interaction system between AI of different factions. So all of this is sounding very good, and this is the reason I've started up my series on PvE, because I want to see how it changes from the start to where it gets to in the future, and if the developers really do continue to update it. So all these updates here are great. It still sounds like the AI will not really fight each other very well, which is a pity. So you could easily run into a bunch of PMCs and a bunch of scavs all in the same area, and then all just decide to go after you, and of course you might get killed immediately because of that. I'm also a bit worried about just walking randomly through a quiet woods and getting one-tapped by some AI PMC that sees you first, because they can see through foliage and stuff like that, and as a result end up just one-tapping you with no warning. But overall, this should make PvE mode in Tarkov far more interesting and get it a little bit closer to the separate mod version that's out there that is right now still superior to this version. But of course this one is official and you can play it with your mates. Now, there's a few other little bits of PvE information to go over too. Big one is that when you play solo, it can now run on your local PC. So that this means it's not taking up server space, because sometimes it can take like 10 minutes or more to get into a PvE raid, whereas this should significantly reduce that number because 70% are playing solo right now with PvE mode. But there is some limitations to that local host though. For instance, if you're going to go on the streets of Tarkov, which is one of the most demanding maps, it will host it on a dedicated servers, so that way you're not going to be bogging down your computer trying to run the server and your game. So that's quite a wise choice. And then if you're playing in a group, you'll always use dedicated servers. And then if you go to the Tarkov website, you can manually now reset your PvE profile so that you can do your own manual wipes, because there's currently no plans to have any wipes on the PvE. So if you want to redo the quest from the start to the finish again, you'll be able to go into the website and reset your progress, which I may do in the future and do a second playthrough of my PvE account. Now, to move on to conclusion, I think all of this is extremely good. These are great upgrades, but there's still a long way to go to get there. I still would love a more consistent playing experience, because you can run into the scavs and PMCs who are just the worst shots in the world, and then the next second you can run into someone who just hits you in the head immediately and you're dead. So I would love to have a bit more consistency, which is great because, of course, that's what the PvP mode doesn't have. You can run into a person who's terrible or a person who's incredible in PvP, but in PvE, you might have the option in the future to make it so that there's a more consistent playing experience, because of course you're just playing by yourself or with your mates. And from reading the patch notes, it very much sounds like the AI are still not going to fight each other properly. I would love it to run into a group of PMCs who are fighting a pack of scavs or something like that, and that would just be cool as hell. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these AI move around the map and what they do, and hopefully it ends up being really good. But certainly I see this as the first step in improving the PvE mode, and hopefully this is the first of many. And then moving a bunch of players onto their local machines should make the server issue far, far better. And that was something they should have had at the launch of the PvE mode. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.